relations, and that's going to be our select body. So.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. My name is Arslan Bukhari. I work with the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is a Muslim civil rights organization. I'm also joined by my colleague, Megan Fair, who's our civil rights assistant, who's here as well. As you know, CARE's job is to make sure that Muslims' rights are defended, and our job is to make sure that whenever a Muslim person is hurt, or in this case, when a Muslim person is found dead, our job is to make sure that there's a complete investigation, because that's what people deserve. That's what we're doing in this case. Many of you have learned about the case of Keita, a bright 18-year-old African-American Muslim teen who was found hanging from a tree in Lake Stevens, Washington. Here's what we know. Keita was a bright 18-year-old African-American Muslim teen. He was born and raised in the Seattle area and was a Running Start student at Everett Community College while working at a fast food restaurant part-time. He had registered to take 3 classes in winter quarter in Everett Community College. His parents have made the Seattle area their home since 1995. Ben's dad has a master's in chemistry and his mom has a bachelor's in business accounting. And both of them work full-time to provide for their family. They lived in the city of Lake Stevens for about 17 years, and they've been in the Seattle area, as I mentioned, since 1995. Ben and his siblings were born and raised in the Seattle area, and Ben went missing, as Nafiso mentioned, on November 26th of last year. He was found dead hanging from a very long rope tied to a very high tree branch about 30 to 50 feet high off the ground in Lake Stevens, Washington on January 9th of this year. Initially, the Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office ruled the manner of death as suicide, but later changed it to undetermined. The Lake Stevens Police Department has been investigating this case. Two of the reasons why the Medical Examiner's Office changed their determination, one of them was the height of the rope, the height of the tree from which he was hanging. The other was the fact that when they did the search on November 30th and December 1st, they didn't find the body there. But some people who were hanging out in the woods on January 9th saw the body then. Those are 2 reasons why the Medical Examiner's Office said that they had changed the determination about the manner of death from suicide to undetermined, which is the status of it now. What we don't know is that authorities and the family do not know who was involved in Ben's death or the motive of his death. What our office has been doing so far to help is that we have been in contact with the family since a few days after Ben was found hanging. And as always, all of CARE's work and help is provided at 0 cost to all of our clients, and we keep all case and client information confidential, except with written permission of the client. In this case, the family provided permission for us to publicly discuss this case and mention their identities in order to create a public awareness for the need of a comprehensive investigation. After more than a month since Ben was found hanging, many questions still remain. He was found on January 9th. After more than a month past January 9th, many questions still remain. So at the request of the family, because more than a month had passed since the body was found and many questions still remain, we sought the federal authorities' help so that a diligent, comprehensive investigation could be conducted that provides the family and the community with answers about what led to Ben's disappearance and death. CARE Washington sent a letter to the FBI on February 27th of this year to the FBI Seattle office, asking them to conduct a comprehensive investigation. We held a news conference on February 28th of this year with the family and interfaith allies to get a public attention to our call for the FBI to investigate, and for any members of the community and the public who have information about what may have led to his death to come forward and call 911 or call the FBI Seattle office at 206-622-0460. And through media outreach and interviews, we have continued to create public awareness for the need for a comprehensive investigation by the FBI and for any persons with information about the case to come forward so that they can provide the information investigators need to get to the bottom of this. The actions you can take to take now to help. If you or someone you know has any information about what may have led to his disappearance, to Ben's disappearance, or his death, call 911 or call the FBI Seattle office with any information you may have. That's the parents' greatest hope. Imagine if your mom and dad found you missing. Ben's parents, the greatest hope they have is that someone out there may have some information about what may have led to their son's disappearance and death, and that with that person's information, the investigators can find at long last what may have led to it. If you're a community leader or a faith leader or a government official or leader, we ask you to repeat the family's call for the FBI to conduct a full investigation. So if you're a community leader, a government leader, or a faith leader, you can echo and repeat the family's call for an FBI investigation by simply sending a letter to the FBI Seattle office. And then also contact the media. Be sure to also do that as well by sending letters to letters@seattletimes.com and letters@heraldnet.com. Letters@seattletimes.com, letters@heraldnet.com, and other media so that the public also knows that other leaders are also calling for a full investigation. And publicly mention that you have done this and emphasize the need for a comprehensive investigation that provides the family and the community with answers about what led to Ben's disappearance and his death. If you're just an everyday person, you don't have to be a leader to do this. Any person can, any concerned citizen can also repeat the call for the FBI to investigate by contacting the FBI Seattle office. If you Google their address, if you Google them, you'll find their email address online. And then also be sure to publicly tell the public that you've done this by emailing a letter to the editor of the Seattle Times, by emailing letters@seattletimes.com or letters@heraldnet.com, which is the Everett Herald in Everett. Make sure the public also knows that many other good people beyond the family are also calling for the FBI to investigate this, and mention why you're calling for this, why your community is concerned about this, whether you're Muslim or an ally, and mention the need for a comprehensive investigation, again, that provides the family and the community with answers about what led to Ben's death and disappearance. If you're an ally of the Muslim community and you want to find out how to be an ally of Muslims, you can also go to careseattle.org, CAIR Seattle.org/allies. So that's what you can do to help. You can help by echoing the call for the FBI to investigate. And just a word for my Muslim brothers and sisters who are here today, you also have a lot of power and you also have a lot of potential. Every one of you has a lot of power and a lot of potential. The way you can do that, you can exercise that power and potential, is to change your major. If you're still an engineering major, if you're still a business major, become a media, a journalism, a political science major, so that in 5 years or 7 years, you're the ones writing the stories, so that you are the media in the next 5 years. We need you to step up and do this. I'll tell you one story of why that matters. You might have heard about the armed protests that happened at mosques all across the country. If there wasn't one young lady who worked for the Seattle Globalist, no one would have heard about what happened in Seattle. The rest of the country would not have heard about it, because one person who is a Muslim person who knows what it's like to grow up to be Muslim took the initiative to write about it. Her story was picked up by media across the whole country, and the whole country found out what happened in Seattle, where dozens and dozens of allies stood up against hate. I'll give you one more story. Talal Ansari of BuzzFeed took interest in this story. If he hadn't taken interest in this story, you wouldn't have heard about this on CNN or on other channels. He made the story go national. It would have remained in Seattle had Talal Ansari, a Muslim person who grew up as Muslim in America, hadn't taken interest because of his own life experiences and because he believes that Black lives matter and he believes that our stories matter. And he wrote about it using the power of his pen because he was in that privileged position as a journalist, because 4 years ago he worked and went to journalism school, like you can also. No one's stopping you. The power is in your hands, and if you want things to change, like we all want things to change, you have the power to change it by entering fields where you can write history, where you can write stories, and where you can tell the story to millions of Americans of our lives. Thank you so much.